Buddha did not put forth his four proposals as a religion. He proposed them as a dialectic, a logical set of proposals that he challenged his listeners to test for themselves. If dependent arising is how the world works and what the world is, then there is no you that is arriving from some previous moment, and there is no world arriving from the previous moment. As we have said, you cannot begin to test this out, to decide for yourself whether this might be true, as long as you are convinced that both you and world are coming from the past, and that your being is a thing of sorts, located inside a persistent two-legged volume wandering around in Cartesian space. This is why we've spent the entire first half of the training looking at how you've been programmed to see the world, and how you've been programmed to see your own being. Only you can step out of this programming long enough to actually test out what Zen is proposing. An American Zen master once described Zen as learning to swim in the deep end of the pool. This is where we're moving now in our conversation, into the deep end of the pool. So here's the choice you're now facing. You can continue to believe that this positional, substantial, somewhat lonely self, located inside a two-legged volume in Cartesian space, traveling through time towards a future self, is real and that it is who you are. Or you can let go of all this long enough to test out what Zen is proposing, that your real being is phenomenally occurring, not separate from world, and not coming from the past. On one level, you may be seeing the logic of what we're talking about, but on a different level, you fear letting go of the self that you've been tethered to your whole life. If you let go of your little tank commander and your story about who you are, you will just float up into the sky, and you will have nothing to stand on, no place to call home. So I want to ask you a question. What's the payoff in clinging to your belief that this small self is who you are? Most of our beliefs have a payoff, but this one doesn't really seem to have one. The experience of being alive that your current self is generating is clearly not what it could be. We have seen that in our discussion of peak moments. The experience it is generating isn't all that great either. You experience yourself as separate from everything and everyone around you, and you spend most of your life attempting to overcome this separation. You are not certain of your place in the universe, so you are never completely sure that you are okay and worthy of being. This uncertainty generates most of the activity that fills your life. The present moment is the only moment you are ever alive, but you are never really in it. You are always moving through it, towards some future situation or self. All your life, you have thought this is just what being alive is. But here we are, halfway through the training, and you are facing a somewhat disturbing idea that none of this is real. Even so, you still find yourself clinging to this self, unwilling to let go. So I'll ask the question one more time. What's the payoff in continuing this belief that this self is who you are? What are you getting out of it, really? What is the payoff in continuing to believe that this separate, somewhat lonely self moving through the world, searching for happiness and completion, is the real version of being alive? Most beliefs have a payoff, but this one doesn't seem to have one. It has you existing in permanent separation from the universe. It gives you no answers about birth and death. Your peak moments are few and far between and don't last long. The various states of happiness and completion that you reach never seem to last either. You feel separate from everyone and everything you encounter, no matter how close you come. So what's the payoff for holding on to this belief that this self is the only possible vehicle for being alive, and that it is who you are? Why do you keep going down this tunnel? Will there ever be cheese at the end?